All right, so we had the chance to talk with Willie Baronet about this project, and it sounded like it, was quite an experience. So,
to say the least.
And we actually had a really good conversation about this, because I think for pretty much anybody in society, you have a story, because at some point in your daily routine, there's somebody who you see, if you go the same route every day, who is on the street or on the side of a freeway holding up a sign. And as Mr. Baronet said, they all have a different story. So, tell us about that. I mean, what were some of the stories that you experienced in being a part of this? Is there one particular that stood out specifically, or?
There's one for you that stood out specifically.
Well, I don't know his story. It just is a story about how it affected me personally. But I had my first experience talking to a homeless person. I was the typical, before this film, I was the typical driver who was uncomfortable and didn't know what to do when I encountered someone. Do I give them money? Do I not give them money? So I went on this trip, and I found myself having to gather the releases for this movie, and so I met this homeless man who really affected me deeply. I felt like he could have been in my family, and so I got the release from him, and then I jumped back in the car with Eamon, and I broke down in tears. And I think that along the way, all of us had our moments like that. Some because of their stories, and some just because of how this movie was changing us personally. I think we all have been very changed by the experience. And I guess our hope is that when people see the movie, they will be changed as well, and they will view the homeless differently. And I would say that we have no idea what to do about the issue of homeless. It's not like we got the answers. What to do? It was our effort to try to show some compassion, to try to show how compassionate one should be towards people who are down on their luck, in that situation. And that's why the title of the film, I think, is so great, Signs of Humanity. It's all about humanity.
Yeah, I think it captures the whole feel of what you're trying to get after with the title. Sometimes you see a title and it's like, well, what does that mean? But I don't think there's any confusion with that one, for sure. So you kind of shared an experience with her, like she was talking about, but is there anything unique from your own perspective that was interesting to you? Or?
I think for me, it was how different the stories were from city to city. And Judy spoke upon this earlier, but we hit 24 cities in 31 days. So we were all across the United States. And in Los Angeles and San Diego, for example, we saw a lot of signs that were more fun and, a lot of humorous signs. Whereas when you got to Detroit and Baltimore, there was no humor there. And, the signs really represented, I think, the level of hope there was in the communities. And that was very apparent to me across the trip.
Okay. Did you feel like the places where they had more of a sense of humor, that there was more hope in those people in terms of where they were in life? Or?
I think there was hope in those people, and it could be the environment they were in, it could be what led them there, but I think that those folks, some of them enjoyed being on the street, believe it or not. There are several folks that we met that said, this is my community, I have friends here, this is my home. And, it took me a while to understand that, to be honest. And, there are some folks that I think just, at the end of the day, say this is life. And, they just shrug their shoulders and say, I prefer make a joke out of it than wallow in self-pity.
It's an interesting perspective. It reminds me of something I heard somebody say once, like, you're talking about these broken people, but, nobody's perfect, and, and when something's broken, well, it means it can be fixed. So.
And we're all people.
Right.
We all have those experiences where we hit our own rock bottom, and everyone's rock bottom is different. Your rock bottom is different than mine, and ours is different than someone on the streets. And I think that, when you really hit that level of rock bottom, you recognize it and you decide, okay, what am I going to do? Am I going to try and bounce back or what? And it's a tough choice.
Well, oh yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, one of the questions Willie asked along the way, I don't know if you touched on this, is he asked everybody, what does home mean to you? And we got some great answers to that question, but most people said things like a place to put my head at night, or security.
A lot of people said my mother.
Yeah.
Which really hit me because I'm very close to my mother, and I almost didn't realize how close I was until this trip, where a lot of folks said, home to me is hearing my mom's voice or being with my mother, and there were so many nights where I called my mom along this journey and just thanked her for being part of my life.
They also said there was something always about food, hot food. But putting my head on the pillow. One man said, home is where I could put a key in the door, walk in, take my shoes off, watch TV, have a dinner.
And by the same token, there were some folks who said, my home right now is under the bridge. There was one guy who was a recovering alcoholic, and he said, my home is under the bridge, and I stay sober under that bridge. And as long as I can stay sober, that is my home. And I take that over any shelter. And that also spoke a lot to me.
It was a fascinating experience. We hope you liked it.
Well, we certainly hope, from everything I've heard about this and actually getting to see it, I certainly hope that the message gets out and a lot of people can learn something. Yes.
Oh, I missed that. I missed that you saw it last night. That's great.
Yeah.
Did you stay for the Q&A?
No.
We got a standing ovation.
It's because of Judy. She did great.
No, the film, I should say, got a standing ovation. Yeah, not us.
Everybody's a part of it, though. So it's if the film gets an applause, then you'll get an applause. Sort of being a part of it. So.
What was your impression? What did you?
It's everything I kind of expected it to be, because I had a good chance to talk with the director, and so got a good feel for what it was. And he seems like a really honest guy, so certainly whatever he was setting out to do is what he got. He didn't pull any punches. So.
Yeah, no, he's the real deal.
Yeah.
It's so nice to meet you.
All right. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thanks a lot, man.
Good luck.